I'm here with Maritime Wrestling personality Kevin Tyler. Kevin Tyler, explain to us how you got involved with the Maritime Wrestling scene and professional wrestling in general.
All right, I warned you I ramble. Well, I've always been a fan of wrestling, and I always wanted to be a wrestler when I was a kid, and did some backyard wrestling. Kind of how I got into the pro end of it was there was a group of us who were going to move to Calgary and train with the Hearts. I don't really think there was a school here at the time. We just assumed there was, so we made these plans. I was in university at the time. I was going to quit university and go follow my dream. Which when I told my parents, they thought that was the dumbest thing they had ever heard. And my father had a kind of a connection to Stephen Pettipaw, the Maritime wrestling legend. He knew his wife, so he got Steve's number and said, "Call this man, and he will tell you the realities of the wrestling business." And that was kind of big for me. You know, I didn't really watch Grand Prix. It was kind of, when I started watching wrestling, it was on its fading days, but I still knew he was, so it was a big deal. So I got the nerve, and I called Steve Pettipaw, and he spent about 10 minutes trying to talk me out of wanting to be a wrestler, the realities of the business. I wasn't a big guy, didn't have a lot of natural athleticism. It was very hard for me to make any money. And then once I hinted that there was a large group of us who were moving to get trained and could be training here, I spent the next 10 minutes talking him into opening a wrestling school. You saw the dollar sign. So that's how I started. So I trained with Pettipaw and Peter Smith. He was the assistant trainer back then. This is during the in-between days of Real Action Wrestling and ACW, I think is what it was. ACW was the first promotion I worked for. It was just some out-of-shape kid who got the shit kicked out of him, as it should have been. And then from there, pro wrestling kind of died off in New Brunswick. There's no option for us to kind of get involved. How far do you want me to go with this? That's my start. I'll take it to IHW at least. And we trained with Pettipaw a little more after that, and then there wasn't much training coming from him anymore. We were just showing up practicing, so he stopped showing up eventually. We just bought the ring from him, and we kept just wrestling with ourselves, and eventually we thought, hey, we're good enough, let's put on some shows. And as much as I will crap on all these terrible wrestling shows today, I did the same thing once upon a time. The difference was there was no one else around. There was no options for us, so this is what we did. And we ran them at it was called the O2 at the time. It's now called the old Cosmo in Moncton, where IHW recently ran its biggest show ever. I remember one of those shows, which we drew. The biggest house was 75 people, lowest was 25, so that's our range. Gary and Duke McKaiser showed up one time, and once we're all in the back, gave us the speech, you know, quit wrestling, this is not helping anything, you're making us all look bad, which I now give the same speech to people, but I thought it was funny because about 10, 11 years later, I'm now booking Gary in the same venue that he gave me the speech, so it took a little while for it to sink in, but there was a boxing commission up at the time. He got shut down. There was no one else to touch us. Even IHW wouldn't book me. As good terms I was with the guys from IHW, they wouldn't give me a match, which made me pretty mad. And after about 2 years, I finally sucked it up and hung around. And there was when Chris Cole started wrestling. He was an interviewer at first, but eventually started wrestling. But how about a manager? And they said, yeah, let's go for it. And started managing in IHW, and that was 2007, and haven't stopped since.
You've rose up through the ranks of IHW to now promoter. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
How did you rise up from them not wanting to use you to running the company somewhat?
By not wanting to be a shitty wrestler, they wanted to use me. I have to give credit to Dave Cawley. He is my partner in all this. I put my face out there, I get more credit, but he deserves just as much credit, if not more than I do. I just started managing and doing something different, and it was getting over. And when you're a young wrestler and you're coming in, even guys who only have a few more years experience can critique what you're doing. There was absolutely nobody to really give me much advice on how to just kind of figure it out on my own. So in a way, I came across as not like a young wrestler, not as a rookie. So I don't know, I would just hang out with the guys, and they'd always ask my opinion on things. I had a different opinion from outside the ring, and that led to helping with booking. And then from there, then there was just a point when IHW was hitting a really kind of a dark time. What people don't really know, IHW was almost done 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Dave left at one point, is that?
Dave left, that was a burnout. He came back. Everyone gets burnt out at some point.
Right.
Yeah, that was, Dave took some time off. But this is a time when everybody was pretty much done. Even myself, the core guys were pretty much done. They were getting good bookings elsewhere, so it wasn't that imperative to keep wrestling with IHW, but it was Dave who brought us back around. He was more motivated than anyone, and when he couldn't do it by himself, so I was already doing a fair amount before, throwing a lot of ideas around, so Dave and I just kind of, the ball was there, nobody was playing with it, we just picked it up and said, hey, and everyone's like, yeah, go for it, see what you can do. And we've been fortunate. It's not all luck, it's a lot of hard work, but that's how we did it.
What are your thoughts on the current Maritime wrestling scene?
I think it's overall very positive. I know there's some negativity, sometimes it comes from me, but there's a lot of really good promotions going. IHW is great, of course. Red Rock's incredible. Vision's doing well. They're been around for a year. They're getting there. They're figuring things out. They're doing well. Halifax would be doing better if there wasn't so many competing promotions, but where everything is watered down here, there are issues with it, and I hope whatever happens, it gets a little more coalesced. But there's some crap, of course, in various places I won't acknowledge, but overall, it's
Feel
really
free
good.
to acknowledge.
That's for a different interview. You have to go to ihw.ca to check out. That's coming, so don't worry. No, but overall, I think it's very positive. Even Grand Prix does tours. I think their business is up these years. So wrestling in general is really hot, and it's affecting us, and we're doing well.
What are your thoughts on the support that IHW gets, or Maritime Wrestling in general gets, from the fans?
Every city's different. Moncton's got a real kind of, I think it's a unique crowd. They are smart fans, if you will. Not all of them, but a large number of smart fans who don't complain as much. There are always some, but versus Halifax, who has a lot of smart fans who complain a lot. But
Do you think that's the big city, or not that Moncton's a small city, but do you think that's big city, the fans in big cities seem to be more quote-unquote smart fans as opposed to littler towns, where they just come to see wrestling?
Yeah, that could be it. I also think that Halifax has just had non-stop wrestling of various quality, that some of the fans have just seen it all. And they've seen some bad stuff, so when things start looking bad again, they've seen it and they complain about it. They're cynical. So even when stuff is good, they're kind of like, well, it's good now, maybe it's going to get bad later. Let's entertain ourselves. And that's where, not to pick on the promotion, I find the Wrestle Center fans are very much like, not that they're not bad fans, but they're very much into themselves as well. Yeah, I don't know. I think all fans are great. I like the fact that the Halifax fans are traveling to Moncton. And that's the only place people are willing to travel for wrestling shows now. So the fans are great and the products are good. So
and when I said that the fans were finicky, I think it's probably well deserved with the product that they're being pissed off watching. But there's other shows around that when they're used to seeing a Wrestle Center show or a Twin City Wrestling show or an IHW show, and then they go see something else and they're pissed off. Do you think that they're deservedly angry?
They deserve to be pissed off? Yeah, they do. And when we talk about bad wrestling, we always tend to really crap on the bad wrestlers who are there. And I can sympathize with them. I want them to stop or do it right. Because I've been there, I get it, and I know how I turn things around. Ultimately, you realize wrestling's not for everybody. Everyone should be in the ring. I realize that, and I'm doing quite well with what I'm doing. But we tend to get mad at the wrestlers. But, it's human nature to do things the easier way. It's there. And they want to be wrestlers. They don't have to train very hard. They don't have to have a lot of training, and they have the opportunity. I feel bad for them. They shouldn't be doing it, but I feel bad. It's the promoters the first and foremost, because they don't want to take the time to put on a good show. Second is the fans. If you're paying money to see bad wrestling, you deserve to be pissed off. And every time you give money to a product you know is not great, but you want to see wrestling, you're keeping them going. I know it's unfortunate that not every city is getting the quality wrestling deserves, but give me time, I'll get there.
Over the years, what has been the most favorite show you have been a part of?
Show?
Show or match segment? What is your fondest memory of being involved?
I can do both of those.
Okay.
Show is recently the IHW 10th anniversary Jacob St. Roberts, because that was just an incredible, special night. It felt like 10 years of hard work paying off, so that was a real special show. Favorite match that I've managed, I think about this, it was, I can't give you the year, but I know the month. It was a March show for IHW. It was Chris Cook against Mike Hughes. That was such a great wrestling match, and my involvement was so integral. Like, think about it, I felt like I really added more than any other time in a match. And it was a magic match. It was really good, and that was the same. We ended off with Cook and I splitting. He choke slammed me at the end, and probably the last good bump I've taken. And that was one of my favorite matches. A runner-up, I will give credit, was later that year. Was also Chris Cook and Mike Hughes. Even though Cook and I weren't getting along in Moncton, I was managing him in PEI. They had a match there in Stratford, which had a huge crowd in the match. That was another excellent match.
What do you think 2016 holds for the Maritime wrestling scene?
Well, it's hard to say overall. I can only really speculate, but I know what IHW is going to do, and IHW is going to grow. It grew in 2015 a little faster than we expected it to. That's because we got Bell, and we have to get out there and tape some more episodes, and it's forced us to expand, and we're going to keep going. 2015, we saw great turnouts in Miramichi, Bathurst, Campbellton. 2016, we're going back. We have our eyes on a lot of other towns around New Brunswick. And there's a few spots out of province that we can easily go to that we're looking at. We have no intention of stepping on anyone else's toes. If there's wrestling there and it's quality wrestling, even if it's mediocre wrestling, we'll leave it be. Crappy wrestling, too bad. Anywhere else, I don't really know. I kind of feel like I'm out of the loop. Of course, Red Rock will continue to do well. It has been for years. Nova Scotia, especially Halifax, I don't know. I have the opportunity to work here with Twin City Wrestling, so of course, no offense to anyone else, but I got to pull for them because I'm getting a payday out of it. So I hope they do well, and I hope. I know there's some other smaller promotions running some smaller towns. I just hope they do things the right way, work with the right people, and I think 2016 can be a great year for wrestling if people want to do it the right way.
And in closing, would you like to say anything to the fans of Kevin Tyler?
I don't think I have fans personally. I think there's fans of IHW, and by extension, I get the credit for that. I think I've already said it. You see good wrestling, doesn't have to be IHW. You see good wrestling, go check it out, support it. You see bad wrestling, you get what you pay for, and your money keeps them going. So, it's your money, do what you want. But 2016 is going to be a fantastic year overall, at least. So, come check out some wrestling.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for finally interviewing me.
Anytime. We'll have to do a full-length shoot sometime.
I'll say the same things, only slower.
That's right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.